Welcome everyone to this webcast on how AmplifyBio achieved compliance and advanced the digital strategy using Pharma 4.0. My name is Dr. Artharnari, Senior Delivery Manager at Verista, and I'm proud to introduce the co-presenters on this discussion. David, go ahead, please.
Hi, I'm David Rohde. I'm the CEO of Blue Mountain. We are a SaaS solution provider in the life sciences space. And we're proud to have AmplifyBio as a customer and Verista as a partner.
Dev?
Hello, hello guys. This is Dev Dutta from AmplifyBio. Before I introduce myself, let me give you a few quick blurbs about our company. We are a startup CRO company as we started as a spun out of Battelle in May of 2021. Since then, we have grown into a little bigger by acquiring Pact Pharma, which happens to be a company in the West Coast, which developed the neoantigen-specific T-cell receptors. And we acquired a few capabilities from them, including advanced characterization, bioinformatics capabilities, and also a hugely experienced staff in drug development. Along with that came some of the manufacturing capabilities that we partner with other companies to provide them the capability to take the products from engineering all the way to commercialization, from concept to commercialization, as they say.
Excellent.
As we can,
yeah, go ahead, please.
No, I'm good. That's it.
All right.
Sorry.
So let's move forward and talk about today's topic and the topic of discussion. We are here to talk about Pharma 4.0 and the extraordinary journey that AmplifyBio has launched into digital transformation and transition from a paper-based system to a completely automated ecosystem. Now, Verista and Blue Mountain partnered with AmplifyBio to help this journey a success. And this effort has significantly reduced human intervention and maximized regulatory compliance for AmplifyBio in its day-to-day operations. Throughout this webcast, we will be touching on best practices and lessons learned to help any life sciences organization to be on the fast track to Pharma 4.0. So let's take a few minutes and start thinking about what Pharma 4.0 really is. Pharma 4.0 is all about bringing the fourth industrial revolution, that is, Industry 4.0, into the pharmaceutical and the life sciences arena. Now, the key is to build on various levels of digital maturity through Pharma 4.0, the idea being driven by a holistic control strategy through well-established ICH quality guidelines. The how-to aspects of Pharma 4.0 are driven by what we call the operating model that you see presented here. This is no longer a choice, everyone, but we do need to have this today in the world as dynamic as it is today. Automation is inevitable. To look at the individual elements of this model, there's four basic elements: resources, information systems, culture, organization, and processes, all functioning together seamlessly with no boundaries. This enterprise-wide end-to-end vision is key for any organization to leap forward through the stages of the digital maturity spectrum. Key to all of this, of course, is an effective knowledge management mechanism and establishing an optimal level of management oversight when and where it's needed. So given that we know now about what Pharma 4.0 is, what the operating model is, let's take a few minutes to look at the digital maturity model. There's various stages in the digital maturity model, stage 1 to stage 5, as you see. Stage 1 is the pre-digital stage, where digital elements, automated elements, coexist with the manual elements, but are sporadic and are not really of good quality. Stage 2, or level 2, is the initiated stage, where the digital elements are growing, maturing, and becoming actively managed. But all of this is happening in silos, and we all know that working in silos is not going to cut it if you're going to talk about digitization and transformation. Level 3 takes care of the silos because the silos are eliminated. We now have greater integration between the automated processes and the manual processes, and automated processes and digital processes are being discussed by executives when it comes to making strategic decisions to meet the objectives of the organization. Level 4 is the harmonized stage, a more balanced stage where actively the organization starts to think and say, hey, can we automate this process? Why do we need to go to a manual process? So more and more, this has become part of the organization's psyche, or way of operations, if you will. Level 5 that we all aim for in the life sciences world is the optimized approach, where everything is transformational. Only high priority digital elements that drive strategic value are part of the organization's future, the ethos, the critical success factors of the organization. So given that we now know about the digital maturity model and the Pharma 4.0 journey, let's now look at how AmplifyBio started on this journey. Dev, go ahead and talk about the unique experience at AmplifyBio.
Sure, sure. As you said, Ram, the crux of 4.0 is to basically eliminate any kind of manual touches and paper-based system onto a workflow data-driven system, right? We took a step further than that. We basically said, look, we are a startup company, small company. We can't afford to have too much investment on on-premise stuff, right? So from the get-go, we decided that if we can push anything to the cloud, we will much rather have that system as a cloud-based system, because that gives us a lot of different advantages, from expertise that can provide security to the cloud offering, to simplified out-of-the-box processes that gives us a chance not to do any kind of customization, because oftentimes what happens is you focus so much on the customization that you forget to see how much effort you need to spend in terms of driving the change, right? Because moving from a paper-based process or into a digital process is not always that easy. It requires a lot of change management. So, and then the second thing is, of course, we all have our weaknesses to the process that we are used to, which does not necessarily make it transparent enough to say, hey, is this the best process, or can we optimize it further? Can we make it more efficient? Now, what happens if you digitize a suboptimal process? It becomes that much more automated suboptimal process, which becomes that much more vulnerable to getting you getting the execution of a suboptimal process that much faster, right? So with doing this, we achieved a few different values that we deliver to our company. So, minimum on-premise footprint, right? That lowers the cost. We can use our resources to focus on other stuff. It obviously drives up the efficiency, right? It decreases the time to market. It reduces the cycle time to put anything into place. Not only that, this gives us an opportunity, as I said, for the process improvement. So we look. This is our chance to say, hey, let's ditch the process that we may be having, and let's see if we get a little bit better offering from the out-of-the-box system that we are going to use. It eliminates the manual touches, because manual touches, by default, minimizes the surface area for compliance, regulatory, and DI risks, right? So that's a great achievement. Yes. And then the paperless and automated, system validation or equipment qualification drives a lot of this stuff a whole lot faster by giving us the ability to reuse what we may have already put in place. For example, a validation plan, right? As simple as it is, why bother to redraft something from scratch? Why not take something that has already been used and make the minimal changes that is required to fit the validation plan for another equipment, right? So the intended use piece can be easily defined. You don't have to put in all the rest of the stuff that comes with the validation plan because that's repeatable. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
That is definitely true. And because you want to take advantage of things that can be done that have been proven and use that and automate that to take advantage of that. Continuing on, Dev, I know that you brought up the point of not reinventing the wheel. Let's talk about how you looked at the low-hanging fruit and went for the quick wins.
Absolutely. I mean, a best example that comes to my mind is the simple thing about regulatory asset management. People, we all know how important it is to understand what are our equipments that we already have has been recalibrated so that we can use them to execute a given process, right? Now,
Yes.
think about this whole thing, which is, in a paper logbook or in a spreadsheet. Even with a spreadsheet, you have to run those refreshes or make the updates so that one would understand what particular equipment is coming up due within, halfway through the process that is getting executed. Now, and it poses an exposure to risk because the regulation requires that every equipment that we use must be in their calibrated state. You must have performed the preventative management, etc. So that's a low-hanging fruit for us, and that's why we went ahead implementing Blue Mountain's asset management solution. The second example that comes to our mind, right? We spend so much time in our industry to do spreadsheet validation. Spreadsheets are not going to go away. We continue to use them, but we have to make sure that they are controlled and validated. So to do that, either you can do it manually, like follow the age-old method of validation, or you can use tools like, for example, the tools that we use, the e-info tree. It gives you it gives you the opportunity to put a ring fence any of your Excel spreadsheets that are already in use, providing that 21 CFR Part 11 compliance ring fence around it, so that anybody who goes into the spreadsheet have to have access. Anybody who goes into the spreadsheet and performs something is audit trailed. Anybody who changes the data has to basically provide why that data was changed, so complete audit trail is maintained. You even have e-signatures. And
Indeed,
along with the info tree comes Excel Validator, right? That is a tool that you can use to generate an Excel that spits out all the IQ, OQ, PQ paperwork that you need to complete in order to validate a spreadsheet. So those are the two things which are low-hanging fruit for us, right? Then we went ahead and moved our EQMS platform into Viva, providing our, we have electronic document management system. We have our entire quality management system in Viva. So all this stuff, they help in driving data integrity and mitigating any kind of quality or compliance risks, right? So of course, we enhanced our efficiency and compliance. They go hand in hand, but not always seen as being going hand in hand, because people have this age-old belief that to make something compliant, to do any validation, it takes a long time. No, it doesn't, because in today's day and age, if you cannot turn around and get something validated and put in the hands of the users, A, it is not getting used, and B, by the time you put in the hands of the users, the technology may have changed. Then what good is it? Right? Yes. We eliminate the manual touches, as we talked about. We use hosted system, out-of-the-box system, so that our go-to-market time is shortened. So the kind of business that we are in cell and gene therapy, which is typically known as needle-to-needle, needle-to-needle quality, maintaining the quality and reduction in the cycle time is so very important for us. I mean, think about it. It's not even for Tylenol. If you have a quality issue, you can do a recall. But if you have a gene therapy or a cell therapy product going into a human body, there is no recourse, no recall there. So you have to make sure that you have the best quality product that comes out of, when we take the cell out of a person's body, and make the product. We have to make sure that the quality, we can do it faster because on the other side of the needle, the person is already at risk. And B, the product that is going to get into that person's body as a treatment is actually the highest quality product because there is no recall possible at that juncture.
Absolutely. That is one of the biggest things in our industry, isn't it? And the idea of the possibility of a recall. Once in, it's in, and there's no other way you can change it. So quality, as you said, Dev, is a very important word, is a very important concept as to how it's applied. And speaking of lessons learned throughout this experience, David, let's talk about how we got through various lessons learned throughout this implementation at AmplifyBio.
Yeah, thank you, Ram. Yeah, there's first of all, I just want to point out that I want to kind of repeat, reinforce what we were just talking about. That ultimately, I mean, this is very important to our company, to our team. That we're in this space to help deliver and be part of delivering, patient outcomes. It's about human health. So, what I really appreciate about AmplifyBio and Verista is the fact that they never seem to take their eye off of that ball, genuinely, and so that's something that I really appreciate. I'll just point out three things. All of them sort of reinforce what we've already talked about. Number one, love the comment about not reinventing the wheel. I'm going to tie this back to what Dev talked about with doing everything in your power not to customize, not to be the quote unquote sort of special snowflake configuration of a system. If you're working with the right vendors, and Blue Mountain's not the only one, and they have decades of experience in the space, not just life sciences, not just manufacturing, but in a regulated sort of GMP environment. You should expect them to have configurations of their platform and tools that can work and follow well-known best practices out of the box. So I would really reinforce, that point. Secondly, and this is a bit of a contradiction or paradox, what I'm about to say, but the old adage, sort of hurry up and slow down, can be applicable because a mistake that I've seen, our clients make is they're trying to race up the maturity curve of this digital transformation and get to that last stage that Ram talked about as quickly as possible. And that's not the right approach. And there's lots of metaphors and analogies that I can use. Hitting a golf ball comes to mind. The harder you swing doesn't mean the ball's going to go farther, right? Or straighter. It applies in this scenario because what you should do in this transformation is put in place first things that may not seem very transformational. I mean, there's really excellent tools and platforms that Deb mentioned that already exist today. So nothing revolutionary. Get those foundational components in place first. And that aligns with this concept of quick wins. Because if you don't have quick wins, people, your organization will lose, the zest for what this program is all about. And the last thing, I'll just point out, believe it or not, and this is coming from me, I lead a software and technology company, but digital or Pharma 4.0 is definitely not about the software or the technology. It's got to start with a commitment from the top. That sounds I realize a little bit cliche, but it's absolutely true. If you don't have that commitment, then your chances of success are diminished quite a bit. And then that cascades, when you do have that commitment, cascades down through the organization. And let's face facts, there's going to be hiccups along the way. If you have a full throttled commitment from the organization, you're gonna glide through some of those challenges and get to the place where you want to be. So
Indeed.
those are the points I'd make.
Yes, because both of you brought up some really interesting points in terms of best practices. Points such as clear ownership, accountability, knowledge management, management oversight, which is very critical, when to know how much of oversight is needed, timing of implementations itself, right? Picking up the low-hanging fruit, building up a momentum, which is one of the points that you brought up, David, right? Building up an interest within the organization to say, hey, something is happening, it is for the better, and obviously there's going to be resistance to change along the way, which is another point that I wanted to bring up, right? There has to be an impetus for change, and it has to come from within, and it has to start from the organization top down. That executives would have to set the pace for this to happen, and which is what we saw, what Verista saw, as well as what Blue Mountain saw with AmplifyBio. So it has been a win-win effort right through for all three organizations as we go together in this journey at AmplifyBio, and it's been a pleasure to be involved in this discussion, guys. I mean, it's been great talking to you both about this journey. I must say, for viewers of this webcast, if you have any questions, feel free to email info@verista.com to talk more about how Pharma 4.0 transforms your organization and how we can help together in your digital transformation journey. Thank you both. Thank you, David and Dev,
Thank you, Ram.
for
Thank you,
participating
Dev.
in this.
Thank you.
both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care now.
Great to partner
Take care,
with you.
guys. You bet.